Ladies and gentlemen, what it do? We are back with another episode. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. We are here to go over the 53-man roster live. I'm yours truly, Culture Shock. Appreciate you guys for tuning in once again. Let's go ahead and talk about this roster reveal. There's a lot of players that did not make this list, that a lot of people that left, a lot of Colts fans, in disarray, but it's okay. There's still opportunity for these guys out there to go out there and make a name for themselves, and the opportunity is still there for those guys regardless of the situation. Of course, they might not be your favorite team, but they still have a chance to go out there. I just wanted to remind people that you know making the 53 roster is not the easiest thing. Of course, we're all not professional athletes. We all do not play in the NFL. Granted, I get it, I understand, but a lot of these guys put their lives on the line, living situation, things like that. All of that you can change in a blink of an eye, and the opportunity is gone. And it's very unfortunate that this might be one of the worst times to be an athlete like this, to have an opportunity like this just slip away in a blink, and it's not in your control. I mean, but granted, hopefully a lot of these guys get another shot. And a lot of these guys are young as well, like just drafted rookies and things of that nature. Just to think of that aspect is like it's just crazy to think that your name just got called and then you have a chance at not even making the roster. It's a dog eat dog world out there in the NFL, but hopefully these guys get another chance. Appreciate you guys for tuning in again. Shout out to Indiana Sports Talk. Appreciate you. But like I said, the opportunity is very slim. It's slim to none for a lot of these guys. So hopefully they do get another chance. We're just going to go over the 53-man roster for the Indianapolis Colts. It just happened to drop about maybe a few minutes ago. You know, Granted, this was pretty much almost a last minute thing. We kind of wanted them to drop maybe almost an hour ago, but the Colts are never on time when it comes to things. But it's okay. We're not hating. We get it. We understand. We are patient. So, as I send out this notification to let everyone know that I'm here to talk about this, we're going to go ahead and give our thoughts about this roster and about the players that did not make the roster. We're going to give our thoughts on that as well. Who should have made the roster? That's definitely going to be in another conversation that we're going to have as well. So let's go ahead and hop into it. Again, appreciate you guys for tuning in on all platforms. We are everywhere: Spotify, Apple, you name it. We're pretty much all over the place at this point. But it is what it is, and the season is right around the corner. So I know you guys are excited. I'm super excited. Let's go ahead and hop into it. I'm going to go over first the players that got released and waived. What's going on? What's going on? Yeah, Bean, I know, right? You don't think you don't like it? Well, let's go ahead. So we're gonna start with the release players. So the release players that came out a few days ago: wide receiver Tyreek Cleveland, safety Ronnie Harrison Jr. was mine when I was pretty much in disarray to see. Ronnie Harrison Jr. did not make the roster. Now we're gonna start with Ronnie Harrison. That was my go-to guy. I don't know about you guys, but I loved Ronnie Harrison Jr.'s game. 1,000% loved his game when he came on the scene. First came on the scene, like he took a little break from the NFL and got called to the Colts to play at the linebacker position. And his debut, he caught an interception. At that point, that was something the Colts been missing, and I was already a fan at that point. I was like, you know what, book it. I'm sold. Let's do it. Keep him here, and hopefully he can stay at that position. But the Colts thought otherwise. They wound up going into this season training camp and preseason transitioning him back to safety. That's what his original position was, and it didn't work out. So they wound up letting him go. Hopefully they can bring him back. Like I said, he was released, so hopefully they can bring him back to the roster, back at the linebacker position. I thought the experiment at linebacker was great. Of course, we do need safety depth, but I am not a fan of him being at safety. I would enjoy him more at the linebacker position. I think that's where you can get more production. Plus, you need a guy like him in the at the linebacker spot. Pretty much can be a ball hawk, and he's pretty decent at tackling as well. And I would have just loved him there to pair him with EJ Speed and Zaire Franklin. That's just my thoughts and opinions on that. Like I said, I loved his game, and it's unfortunate that he did not make the roster. He was one of my go-to guys. Yeah, I loved every minute of him being on the roster, so it is unfortunate. Other than that, we got Derek Rivers. Derek Rivers is a vet. He did not make the roster. He wound up getting released. Then you got another vet wide receiver Greg Ward, who just came from Philly. He is the plan was to have a reunion with Shane Steichen, and he unfortunately did not make the roster. So that is an insane time to be. Like I said, the opportunity is very slim to make the roster. Again, Greg Ward, I thought he would have did something, but unfortunately, he did not. So it's unfortunate he got released. Other than that, we're gonna go to the waived section. We got Clay Fields the third. That's a corner. We got kicker Spencer Schrader, who had a pretty decent preseason in my opinion. Keaton Slovis, who I thought as well had a pretty decent preseason. He had a nice little arm on him. He was throwing some nice passes, man. I will give him that. It was a little wishy-washy, but when you come to the quarterback controversy with a quarterback position at the Colts, I think we're pretty much solid at that spot. So I didn't see any future of him making the roster. So that didn't become a shock to me. Wide receiver Derek Swicka. I'm pretty sure I'm mispronouncing that name. He was a wide receiver. And linebacker Mike Smith Jr. was another guy waived. So again, I'm going to release those names. Released Tyree Cleveland, Ronnie Harrison Jr., Derek Rivers, and Greg Ward. Waived was Clay Fields III, Spencer Schrader, Keaton Slovis, Derek Slegwa, and Mike Smith Jr. All of those guys, unfortunately, did not make it. It is what it is at the end of the day. So let's go ahead and hop into the special spot right now. We're going to go into the 53-man roster. What's going on, Jacob? We are officially back. Yes, we are back. We're going to go over the 53-man roster now, and we're going to give our thoughts on it. Let's go ahead and hop into it. So the quarterback positions is Sam Ellinger, Joe Flacco, and Anthony Richardson. Sam Ellinger, the preseason GOAT, is still on the roster. That is something to be debated, I can say, because we all love Sam Ellinger, right? Sam Ellinger could be, a trade piece. He can be moved somewhere else for a better opportunity. His options are very slim, and I think he progressed every year. In my opinion, I think Sam Ellinger progressed every year. I think we can all keep it 100 about that. But when it comes to Jason Bean, right? Jason Bean had a pretty decent preseason. He also progressed a lot in the last 3 games. The first game was a little rocky. Second game was like, okay, he's getting better. Third game was like, all right, he's starting to figure it out. But unfortunately, he might be a practice squad body or might land elsewhere. If I had to choose, I probably would have chose Jason Bean over Ellinger. I think it's just time for a change. I think, obviously, Sam Ellinger could have a better chance elsewhere. But I think Jason Bean, just with the Shane Steichen system and his ability, I think he would have been better in. We can also talk about Jelani Woods now. Jelani Woods, yes, is on IR. He is done for the rest of the year. Again, a young talent that never could see the field just due to injury, which is very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. So, I mean, it's crazy to look at the tight end room. Like I said, we got plenty of opportunity there for everybody. And when you look at the waiver wire, there's a lot of names out there that you can go grab to replace, Jelani Woods until he gets fully healthy. So I still have faith in this room. I love Will Mallory's game. Like I said, Will Mallory is due for a big season. Kylan Granson's due for a big season. We still don't know about Molly Cox. So we're gonna figure him out. I'm pretty sure they're gonna use him more in the red zone. But when it comes to like the tight end room, everybody has specific ability, and I think we have one of the deepest tight end rooms. We do not have that one go-to guy. We do not have a Travis Kelsey. We do not have a George Kittle. But all of these guys can be utilized in this Shane Steichen system very well. I did mention Donald Parham Jr., who just got released from the Chargers. I think he could be a pretty decent piece to bring in as an addition from the wire that's going to be around tomorrow. So there's a lot of names out there, and a lot of people wonder why the Colts don't make any big moves and splashes about free agency like that. Because I think you could really find some hidden gems in this waiver wire. Of course, they're not the go-to household names that they used to be, but a lot of those guys are pretty much due their past time. Pretty much getting up in age and losing a little bit of speed and athleticism. So there's a lot of young guys that's out there, even the safeties. The Vikings just got rid of Klein Lewis, and I think he can be a good addition. Oh, yeah, Lewis Klein. So I think he can be a good addition. Like I said, there's a lot of guys out there that could be available for the Colts to pick up. from the waiver wire, that could be a huge addition, and they don't even have to cost you that much in contract. So it's going to be interesting to see how that pans out. Um, we're going to move forward. Oh yeah, I did just mention Lewis Klein from the Vikings, Donald Palm Jr. as well as two guys that I'm looking forward to seeing they can potentially add to this roster if needed. I mean, there's not even an if needed at this point. It's like a guarantee. You have to go do these things to definitely like boost this roster. So we shall see for sure. But that is the quarterback room. Moving forward to the running back room, which is another interesting one. So the running backs for the roster is Tyler Goodson, who had a pretty good preseason. I will give him that. Tyler Goodson ran pretty hard. You got Trey Sermon, my GOAT. Shout out to Trey Sermon, one of the best running backs, backup wise, to do it. And then we got to go to Jonathan Taylor. So Xavier Scott and Evan Hall did not make the roster. I thought both of those guys played really good football in the preseason and in training camp. It is unfortunate that these guys did not make the roster. I'm pretty sure Evan Hall is going to get picked up very quickly. He just got drafted and, his opportunity is gone for the Colts. But like I said, there's an opportunity out there for him elsewhere just due to his ability to in the pass game. I think he's pretty good as well. So yeah, Evan Hall definitely shocked me as well. I was not a fan of that move. I definitely was a fan of Xavier Scott, and he didn't make it. But like I said, we got another good one in Tyler Goodson. I think he's going to be very good moving forward. Trey Sermon and Jonathan Taylor are for sure locked down, so we already know how they run. So that's no problem with me. Moving to the wide receiver room, we got Josh Downs, Ashton Doolin still around. We got Anthony Gould, A.D. Mitchell, Alec Pierce, and Michael Pittman Jr. So, of course, Treadwell did not make the roster, who I thought had a pretty good preseason and training camp. Like I said, he's a vet. It's unfortunate that he couldn't make it, but it's okay. Tyler Goodson was awesome, and you're Iowa fans. He's great for us. Yes, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. But for sure, Ashton Doolin is going to be a huge question mark moving forward, just due to him coming back from injury. He's a good special teams player, and he was very good at wide receiver before he went down. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this wide receiver room is going to look out. Of course, Josh Downs is injured, but he is not wearing a boot, so we're going to see what time he's going to come back. I was aiming around week 2. The question mark is circled around week 1. We do not know, but I still have it circled around week 2, in my opinion. That's just me thinking. So we shall see how that looks. But the wide receiver room has promise, man. I think Alec Pierce definitely shown growth in the preseason. Rep wise, repetition, just working out with his quarterback, getting his feet under him. I think he's going to be really, really, a really, really secret gem going into this season. And a lot of people are sleeping on Alec Pierce, but I do think he could be due for a big season. So we're going to look forward to that. Like I mentioned, the tight end room, we're going to go ahead and go over that really quick. Tight end room, you got Marley Cox, Kylan Granson, Will Mallory, and Drew Ogletree. Like I said, this is one of the deepest tight end rooms in the NFL, if not the deepest. Most tight end rooms have about one or two guys that can go to, but we have about four. The speculation is still out there for Drew Ogletree to see how he's going to be, moving forward in this offense. He's coming back as well, so I think this tight end room can be really, really good moving forward. Like it all depends on the flow of the offense, is the run game working, and how is Anthony Richardson maneuvering throughout the year. So it's going to be interesting. But like I said, I think this offense, again, last year was one of the highest scoring offenses without Anthony Richardson. Going into this year can definitely be as well another good year for this offense moving forward. Let's go ahead and hop into this offensive line. We got Tanner Bortolini, just drafted last year. We got Blake Freeland coming back, Will Fries. We got Matt Conclaves, Ryan Kelly, Quentin Nelson, Danny Penzer, Bernard Ryman, Braden Smith, and Dalton Tucker. Everybody loves Dalton Tucker. It's good to see that he made the roster. This offensive line is very underrated, in my opinion. I think just due to the growth and consistency, with these guys just being around each other for multiple seasons, I think they progressively got better, especially after that season last year, the year before last with Matt Ryan. We hit like an all-time low with that offensive line. I think last year they took a huge leap in production. Ryman got a little weight on him. He got a little bigger. And Quentin Nelson looked like his old self besides the penalties. But with Ryan Kelly, I think Will Fries had a pretty decent year. Then Bernard Ryman, of course, like I mentioned, But you think Blake Freeland, I think he's going to have a really good year this year as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how this team turns out with this offensive line. I think this offense is going to be okay. Like I agree, sir. I think this offense is going to be totally fine. The huge questions is going to go to the defensive side, and we're going to get into that next. But let's go ahead and switch over to the defensive side. We got added for the defensive line. We got Adetume Adewale. Taven Bryan was a huge question mark. A lot of people did not want Taven Bryan back on the roster. We don't hate players around here. We don't dislike them. A lot of people just chose other players over Taven Bryan just due to his recent history. But Taven Bryan, I always mention he can be a good, decent piece. Of course, there's players out there that could be better than others. But I seen potential in Taven. I think he can just, I think with growth and consistency and continuity, I think he'll be all right. Like I say, he's not going to be the best defensive lineman out there, but I think he'll be okay just to hold in. He's not going to be on the field 24/7, but I think with a few snaps, I think he'll be all right. So we'll see how it goes. Like I said, I don't make the rules, I don't make the calls, so we'll see. That's it. That's all I can say at the end of the day. We'll see. He should be a three tech. Hey, it is what it is at the end of the day. We don't make the calls. So we got DeForest Buckner, of course, Raekwon Davis, who's coming back. We got Isaiah Land, who made the roster. He had a really, really, really good preseason, man. Isaiah Land was dogging all preseason and training camp. So it's good to see that he made the roster because he could be a huge piece as a backup for that defensive line, man. Isaiah Land has been dogging all offseason. So it's good to see that he made the roster. I think a lot of Colts fans are going to be happy with that call of Isaiah Land making the roster. We got Latu, of course. Love him. Yes, absolutely. We got Latu, Tyquan Lewis, Dio, Quiddy Pay, and Grover Stewart. A solid defensive line, if you ask me. I think this is one of the deepest defensive line depths, again, I say. So, besides the tight end room, you got the defensive line. Both of these spots are very deep. So, we'll be all right at those positions. The linebacker room, you got Jalen Carleys, who I thought should make the roster, and he did. So that is good to see. It's good to see Jalen Carleys make the roster. Zaire Franklin, Sigan Alubi, EJ Speed, and my dog Grant Stewart. Like, listen, you guys do not understand. I love Grant Stewart. I just he reminds me of Troy Polamalu. Now, when I say this, I don't mention skill wise or ability wise. It's just the hair. It's the orange, long, flowy hair. Grant Stewart is my go-to guy. I need to see him on special teams every single snap. When you see that hair, you know it's Grant Stewart. It's no question. So it's good to see from that. But again, linebackers are solid. I agree. It's another room that's pretty solid. And a lot of people, like I say, I think a lot of fans get thrown away with names, like household names. They get thrown away. Like they see all these other teams going out there and getting these big names, but then at the end of the day, when they don't win the Super Bowl, it doesn't amount to anything because that's the ultimate goal. I try to preach that to so many. Of course, a lot of people go through one ear and out the other, but if you're not winning the Super Bowl, you're pretty much in the same spot as everyone else. You're just starting over and continuing to build the roster at the end of the day. So, like I said, these names that we don't pick up, it doesn't bother me at all. Like I say, I would love to have them on the roster, but at the end of the day, it's not something that to like, to be worrisome about or to throw a little fit. Oh, the Colts didn't get this guy, or the Colts didn't get this guy. Oh, another missed opportunity. They're just household names. They're just household names. Like at the end of the day, they're not in their prime anymore. They're reaching that certain age. Of course, the ability can still be there, but there's lack some. And there's a reason these teams are letting these guys go and they're available in free agency. So these names are not what they used to be. They're still dogs, maybe. But at the end of the day, like they still got to go out there and play football. It's any given Sunday. So I'm taking my Colts over any of these teams and these household names at any type of time because that's just the type of energy I'm on. You got to come and bring it every week, every Sunday. Just bring it. It's that simple. So then if we win, they're going to be like, oh, well, this team might be good. Then if we lose, it's, well, see, I told you. So it's going to be a contradiction regardless of the situation, whether we win or lose. So we're just going to be back at square one. So it doesn't bother me when you come to these names in free agency that the Colts don't acquire. Of course, you would love to have them, but like I said, at the end of the day, you're going to be gambling regardless of the situation. You're going to either gamble high or gamble low. Me, I gamble low. What's the worst that can happen besides losing? The only thing that's going to be worse is that you're losing more money. So that's just my thought on it. Um, on to the cornerback room. Now, this cornerback room, what's going on, Gabriel? This cornerback room is woo. Here we go, right? So we got Daryl Baker Jr. back on the roster, right? Juju Brent, Dallas Flowers, Jalen Jones, and Kenny Moore the second. So Jalen Jones is a guy I think can have a really good year. Uh, when it comes to Dallas Flowers, was coming off an injury. He looked very rough in preseason and training camp. Daryl Baker Jr. We know the history with him, so I'm kind of seeing. I'm kind of questioning how that's going to look in that direction going into the season. I agree. Juju Smith does need to stay healthy, but I have the utmost faith in Juju Brents. I can go on and on and on about how he can just have a turnaround year when he's on that field. Like I say, I mention all the time, a lot of Colts fans seem to forget that terrible year we had the year before, the year prior of last year, when we are like 4-12. Everybody looked out of sync. The defense was just dog water. It was just that bad. But there was still bright spots. And then we can go even to Kenny Moore. Kenny Moore's first year in the Gus Bradley system was probably one of the worst performances I've ever seen of Kenny Moore. And Kenny Moore is a dog. We all know that. But like I say, it just takes time to learn. It is what it is, no matter how old you are or how young you are. If you're going to be, with the same guy for more than 1 year, you're not going to figure it out in one game. You're not even going to figure it out half a season. It's going to take you almost a year to develop that. So with Kenny Moore, the second year, you see he had one of the best years of his career. And the Carolina Panthers game said it all. Now, of course, people might say, oh, it's the Panthers, but you know how good you got to be to make more than one pick six in the same game with the family in the stands? And that's all just due to knowing your strengths. That's just come what it is. So if Gus Bradley can figure out Juju Brent's strengths and play to that with his wingspan and his ability and him pressing and letting everyone else play off, I think we'll be fine with Juju Brent. Like everyone said, he just has to stay healthy. But I have the most faith in Juju Brent next year. I really think he's going to shake the AFC South up. Like a lot of these guys, the last year, even before he got hurt, he battled a lot of good wide receivers, man. He battled a lot of good wide receivers and held his own majority of the time. It was 50-50 most of the time. Of course, you're not going to win every rep, but a lot of people expect that because they have high expectations for him just due to the depth of the cornerback room. But I do think he had held his own a lot of these games. So it is what it is at the end of the day. Whether you hate it or love it, I think he's going to be our guy. And I do think he's going to take a step up this year and going to shock a lot of Colts fans. And he won't shock me because I already know I've been preaching this since day one. He's going to be that guy. It just takes time. Like a lot of these fans expect these guys to go out there and just be, the number one. They just seem to be it. And then they bash him when they look at the record. They go, "Oh, we didn't make the playoffs. We missed it." But seem to forget we won 9 games with a backup quarterback. No matter, regardless of the situation and how bad the defense was last year, we still won 9 games. We still won 9 games. So just imagine if we can fix that with a quarterback and the defense starts to figure it out. I mean, I'll let the games do the talking. I mean, I can go on and on all day. Jalen Jones, Kenny Moore, and Juju, I'm fine with being on the roster. Dallas Flowers is solid for special teams too, but Baker, yuck over Abraham. Yeah, I really wanted Micah to make the roster. I really did. I thought Micah played really good. He's a super ball hog. Of course, he's a slot corner, so he can back up Kenny Moore. But man, he was really, really good. And I really thought he had a potential to make the roster, but just due to his ability, it's unfortunate. Hopefully they can bring him back in the practice squad. He could just be a depth piece moving forward. Um, but just due to, like I said, I hope they don't wait too long at this cornerback room just to see poor production and then they try to do something. I just don't want it to be too late. That's all I can say. I just don't want it to be too late. But we'll see how it goes. To the safety room. This is another interesting one. Safety room, like I said, we did get rid of we did get rid of Ronnie Harrison. So, um, sorry, that was a brain fart. We did get rid of Ronnie Harrison, who I thought should have been at the linebacker position anyway. So the safety room is Julian Backman, Nick Cross, Trevor Denbo, and Rodney Thomas II. Trevor, I did not expect to make the roster. I thought he would have been on the practice squad, but it's all right. It is what it is at the end of the day. Rodney Thomas, who I thought had a second that his last year was a little on the downside, and even going to this year with the preseason and training camp, you've seen a little progression, but I don't think it's been enough to be confident with the room moving forward. Nick Cross and Julian Blackman, I think they'll hold their own. Like I said, a guy like Julian Blackman that played both sides, that paid both sides of safety, free and strong. I think he can help Nick Cross a lot. Nick Cross has shown that he's ready for the spot in training camp and preseason. So I'm fine with both those guys. When it comes to the backups, that's when you start to get worried. If one of these guys go down, it's like you're going to call these guys. It's going to be a little shaky. But that's when you go to the waiver wire and start calling, making some names, start making some calls. Because I mean, when one of these guys go down, I don't know how how you're going to look moving forward. So I mean, Andre Satri, he's back. He's back out there. So I mean, if they want to bring him back, it's going to be interesting. There's a lot of names out there, man. I can go on and on. So we'll see for sure. But this safety room is definitely under investigation. We'll see how it goes. But I love Julian Blackman and Nick Cross. Julian Blackman's been balling out the last 3 years, and he's gotten better every year. He just has to stay on the field. But I have the most faith in it. I think Nick Cross will hold it down. I do. I do think Nick Cross will hold it down. I think he was just waiting on his time. To be honest, I think he was just waiting on his time. Jonathan Abraham, he was headhunting, so we don't know how that might work out. Hopefully, hopefully, if we do get Jonathan, he'll trying to figure it out. He's pretty good though. He's pretty good at safety. I mean, besides the flags, he gets a lot of flags. Like the offense already get a lot of flags, so we get flags on defense. That's just moving them down the field even faster, and they can move down the field faster without flags. So just giving them flags will just make it even worse. But that's just a little conversation for another day. It is what it is. But Jonathan is pretty good at safety. Like I said, he just got to be more disciplined. That's all it is. And I think Lewis could be a really good piece to replace Rodney. But it is what it is. At the special teams, we got my dog Luke Rhodes, we got Rigoberto Sanchez, and then we got Matt Gay. So I mean, overall, the roster, built is built pretty nice. It is. It's built pretty nice. So like I said, it's not the names that pops off when you look at other depth charts like the Titans and the Texans, even the Jaguars. But I think when you look at this team, like this team can go up. They can match up against anyone. They really could. They can match up against anyone, no matter whether you like it or not. Take it with a grain of salt. But I will take this team at any given Sunday. A lot of players get cut. Now Sam Ehlinger's still in the roster. He's still in the roster, as you can see from the picture. He is still there. So Jason Bean did not make it, unfortunately. But it is what it is at the end of the day. Adrian Amos got cut too. Yeah, the Jaguars did cut some people. The Texans did too. The Texans cut some names as well. Even the Titans. Yeah, he did. He's right there on the screen. You don't see it, but when it comes to the waiver wire, like I said, there's a lot of names out there that can go make you can go make a splash and shake up the scene for competition very easily. You can shake up the scene for competition very easily. So that's a no brainer. CJ Henderson, yes, that's who I wanted to mention. I was thinking, I was like, the Texans, who did they get rid of? It was a secondary corner, and CJ Henderson was the name. CJ Henderson has been bounced around the AFC South. He's never found a landing spot yet. So I mean, hopefully the next stop will be his last stop, and he'll just find a home. It's unfortunate he just couldn't find a spot to stay at. Uh, he'll be back in the practice squad, or he'll play in. Wow, that's crazy. Desmond King, yes. Yeah, I think we all can agree that we are fans of Bean over Ellinger. Like I said, Ellinger is a preseason GOAT. and he's progressed. He's gotten better every year. This is no knock on Sam Elliott. He's gotten better every year, just gameplay wise. Now, of course, you're going to take it away because you're going to say, well, it's the preseason. But I think when you just look at his reps and, him being his posture in the pocket and, the game slowing down is the huge thing. The biggest thing was the game slowing down. Like, he learned a little bit from his mistakes. He wasn't perfect, but you can see the progression. So I do think he can find a spot if he wasn't on the roster. But you can say the same for Bean. It is what it is. Bean's young. Hopefully he can find another home. But hopefully he's on a practice squad for the Colts. Hope we get C.J. Henderson. I do too. He was a dog in Florida. I agree. The wide receiver depth keep looking better every year. I agree. 100%. The Bills just cut Le'Veon Collins and Kareem Jackson. Kareem Jackson was the name I was looking at for sure. He could definitely be a huge boost moving forward for the Colts. But yeah, like I said, man, the running back room, if I had to pick a spot that questions me the most, I think we can all agree it's the cornerback room. The cornerback room is the only room that I'm worried about. Every other room, I have no issues with. I have no issues with any other room on this team. The secondary cornerback room is the only room that'll turn your head to the side and be like, I don't know. But again, I think this defense relies heavily on pass rush. So if the pass rush is cooking, this cornerback room is going to cook, whether you like it or not. It's just that simple. The pass rush is probably the biggest question going into this year. The secondary room is the biggest issue. The biggest question is the pass rush. If the pass rush can put pressure on that quarterback, the cornerback room is going to eat. It's going to eat. No matter how you add to it or if you take it away. I think that's just how the cookie crumbles. Just how the dice rolls. See, Alatu's going to be a nightmare for teams. I agree. He has been so ready. He's been ready since training camp. He's been ready. Flying off the camera every snap, going 100 miles per hour. That's what you let us see from a rookie. I just hope they play him a lot. I really do. I hope they play him. So, yeah, that's going to be interesting. Jalen Jones has not impressed me along Dallas Flowers, in my opinion. That's my concern, too. I agree. Tim Patrick did get cut. Hey, it's going to be interesting. It's definitely going to be interesting. There's a lot of names out there. And if the Colts make any moves, you will hear it from me first. So we will definitely see KJ Hamler's out there from the Bills. Frank Gore Jr. is out there. Andy Isabella's out there. We mentioned Kareem Jackson. The Bills lost a lot of people. It's a lot of names out there, man. We can go on and on all day. But that's pretty much all I got for you guys. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. It's going to be very interesting to see how the Colts move on this waiver wire, if they pick up names, if they bring some people back. Hopefully they do. But you guys let me know your thoughts about this Team 53 roster. Who should have made it, who shouldn't. All of these things. Follow me on all platforms. I am everywhere. Apple, Spotify, YouTube, you name it. Instagram. I'm everywhere. Everhole will be back. I hope so. But I appreciate you guys for tuning in again. This is yours truly, Culture Shock. We'll be back. Stay tuned. Football is around the corner. We are about to face the Houston Texans week 1. I'll be back for that as well. I got a lot of content pushing for you guys, man. We are back. Football is officially back. So you guys stay tuned for that. Go Dogs. Appreciate you, Gabriel. But, this yours truly. I'll see you guys. Turn on your notifications, man. I'll be around. I'll holler at you.